Hi, my name is Denise Callery. Thank you for watching. Today I'm going to show you how to make popcorn without oil, and it will stay crunchy, I promise. If you have been following me at all on Instagram or on Facebook or reading my blog, you know how much I love popcorn. When Chris and I first started this way of eating popcorn, popcorn was really one of my go-to snacks. The problem was I would make it in the air popper, so it was totally compliant and healthy, but I would put seasonings on it and it would just fall right off. So from there, I learned that maybe I could spray something on it. So I would use a mister or Aminos and put some liquid on it and then put the seasoning on. And that was great because it stuck. But the problem was then it got mushy. It would be good when you first made it. And then especially in the summer months, a few minutes later, it was just mush. But now, almost 4 years later, I have finally figured out how to make great popcorn. And the best part is that it'll stay crunchy. And it'll even be crunchy the next day, if it lasts that long. Popcorn is a great snack for you when you air pop it. It is a whole grain. It is low in calories. It's low in fat. It is full of vitamins and nutrients and dietary fiber, which we've discussed you absolutely need to have. And you can only find that in plants. Popcorn's been around for I think it's been around for about 5,000 years. And the way that it pops basically is there's a little droplet of water inside each kernel. And when it gets heated to a certain temperature, it explodes and then you have your popcorn. There are different ways that you can pop popcorn without oil. I like to use an air popper. I think it's the easiest. You have a Presto Pop Light. I don't think I even spent $20 for it. You can get them anywhere between like $18 and $40. I'm not really sure what the difference is. It's just a simple machine. It just needs to heat up the popcorn and put it out into the bowl for you. Another way that you can make it, if you don't have an air popper, is to use a paper bag. So you just pour some kernels into a paper bag and you can microwave it for a few minutes and then you'll have popcorn without oil. Today I'm going to show you 5 different recipes for popcorn that we all love in my family. The first one will be kettle corn, and then we're also going to make the classic Nooch popcorn. That's Nooch for nutritional yeast. We're going to make peanut butter chocolate, buffalo popcorn, and a Tex-Mex mix. So the first thing that we need to do is make our popcorn. So I'm going to use the air popper, like I showed you before, and this popper takes a half a cup at a time. So basically, you use the little cup on top. And you pour the popcorn in. And I'm going to put a link in the bio. You'll see a link for this popper if you're interested in getting this one, or you can get any one that works for you. So for this, you just pour the kernels in, place that little lid, and you plug it in. We'll get going popping. Oh my goodness. So we have our popcorn ready to prepare. First recipe I'm going to show you is our kettle corn. So for the kettle corn, we need to use a mister. I use the Misto mister, and I'll put a link for that down below in the comments. You're going to need some maple syrup and some water. So the misters are great for getting the liquid onto the popcorn without saturating it. So what we're going to do is pour, take the bottle, about half and half of the syrup and the water. Want to make sure that it's sweet enough, so don't be afraid to taste it. I mean, if it tastes just like water, then go back and add more syrup because you need this to be sweet. It's kettle corn. Okay. mixture. We're going to take a cookie sheet, piece of parchment paper. Remember, we always have parchment paper because things stick when you're not using oil. So we're going to take some of this popcorn. Put on the cookie sheet. Oh, and I should have said I have my oven preheated to 350. Just spread it out on the sheet. Take the mixer, pop it up. So I'm going to spray the popcorn, get it nice and coated. This is your sweetness, so you want it to be a little sweet. And now you can either use salt or you could use liquid aminos if you like that. We happen to like the liquid aminos, which also has a salty flavor, but it has a lot less sodium. So I'm going to spray this with liquid aminos. Now I have my sweet and salty flavor, which is kettle corn. I'm going to pop this in the oven. Going to set the timer, and we are going to leave that in there anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes. It's going to depend on how wet the popcorn got as far as how long you want to leave it in the oven, so just make sure that you check on it. Okay, so our kettle corn seems to be done. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that looks good. You can see that it's all nice and crunchy. And right there on the pan. That is going to be delicious. We are going to start on the classic Nooch popcorn. So for that one, it's very similar. So we're going to take our pan, and we are going to take another piece of parchment paper, lay it out on the pan. I also use the liquid aminos for this one. You can spray anything that you want to get the popcorn to have it a little bit wet. You can even spray water. You can use vinegar, anything that works for you. You can use the same mixture if you like the sweetness from the kettle corn. So let's put some popcorn onto the tray. This one, these sprayers are great. Spray down the popcorn. And for the classic Nooch, we are of course going to use Nooch, which is nutritional yeast. Use the red star. Sprinkle some of that on. And then we are also going to use a little bit of garlic powder. And some onion powder. And the powdered onion, I mean, it's powdery, so it sticks pretty good. This was the first recipe that I used to use before I started baking it, and I enjoyed it that way, but now it stays crunchy, so it's even better. I'm just going to put a little bit more aminos on it to make sure that it sticks. Also going to just mix it around a little bit. You could also do it in a bowl before you put it on the cookie sheet. And then we're going to pop this one in the oven. The classic Nooch popcorn is done too. Let's check out that. Oh yeah. You can just see like how dark and crispy it gets. The flavor is baked onto the popcorn, so nothing is falling off. It's all staying on there, and it's going to stay crunchy, and it's going to be great. So this next recipe is a little bit different. This is peanut butter and chocolate popcorn. It is not that sweet, but you do get that chocolate and peanut butter flavor. So let me show you how this one's done. So for this one, I am going to use a bowl. And we're going to add some of our popcorn. I am also going to use a sweet sprayer again. So this was, again, the maple syrup mixed with the water. I'm just going to spray it around the popcorn so that our seasonings can stick to it. And it gives it a little bit of the sweetness because the cocoa powder is not sweet. So from there, I'm going to take this cocoa powder. I'm going to use a sifter. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know. I've had this forever. I don't know where I got it, but it's a little sifter measuring cup. I'm going to take about a teaspoon of the cocoa powder. Pour it into there. Shake that around. So good. Maybe a teaspoon was a bit much. Didn't need that much. And then I'm going to use peanut butter powder. We use PB2. You don't use it that often, but once in a while you want that peanut butter flavor, and it doesn't have the fat in it. I know it's not exactly a whole food, but I can't put real peanut butter on this. So same thing with this. We're going to sprinkle this around. This is a little bit harder to sift. Put the lid on the bowl. Shake it up. And don't be, it's not crunchy right now, but it will have the flavor. So don't be afraid to taste it and make sure that the flavoring is what you want before you put it in the oven. So I'm going to take a pan, put parchment paper on there, sprinkle the popcorn out, and we're going to pop this in the oven. Same thing, about 6 to 10 minutes. Our peanut butter chocolate is now done, so let's get that out of the oven. Looks great. See, some of them, if they're a little bit more wet, they shrivel up a little bit, but they're also going to be your crunchiest pieces, so they're really good. We are going to make the buffalo popcorn. This is probably the easiest one, and it's also one of my favorites. We're going to use a different technique for this one. We're not going to use a spray bottle. So for this, I just take some hot sauce and I use the bowl, and I put the hot sauce around the outside of the bowl. And I do this because I don't want to just pour the hot sauce directly onto the popcorn because it'll, I don't know, it just makes it too saturated. So I pour it around the outside of the bowl like that. Put a little bit of the popcorn in. Depending on how spicy you like it, and this particular sauce gets it's a little spicy. You can use any kind of hot sauce that you like that's oil-free, and watch the soda in it too. Shake this up. And that's it. We're just going to pour this on the pan. It's all nice and coated. We are going to pour this on our cookie sheet. Spread it around. It's nice and bright. You might not want that much sauce. I kind of put a lot of sauce on, which I tend to do. So let's pop this one in the oven. Okay, I think our buffalo popcorn is done. I just love this one. I think that it just looks so nice. It browns up so nicely. I hope that you can see that in the camera. And it's so easy. So the last recipe we're going to show you today is the Tex-Mex. That is going to be a combination of the other methods that we use. So we're going to use the bowl. We're going to put some of the popcorn in the bowl. I'll just use the rest of it. Why not? Okay. And in this one, we are going to use the mister again, but this time I have already prepared it. I put some vinegar Mostly vinegar and a little bit of water to give this popcorn a nice vinegary kind of flavor. So we'll just spray this. You could use a bigger bowl too. I probably put too much popcorn in here. So for this one, we're just going to use a little bit of smoked paprika. I always have this in my pantry. I use it for so many different things. Love smoked paprika. Sprinkle some of that on. We are going to use a little bit of oregano. Put that on as well. Garlic powder again. And some ground cumin. Came out a little fast. Okay. And we'll put the lid on. Shake this one up. Look at that. Ready to go on our cookie sheet. We're on. Tex-Mex into the oven. I see I have a couple kernels on here, so I hope they don't pop while they're in the oven. Okay, our Tex-Mex popcorn is done. And it looks like our unpopped kernels did not pop in the oven while it was cooking, so that's good. So I'm going to try to get you guys a shot of all these just so that you can see what they are. This is the kettle corn. Yum, looks great. And this one is our buffalo popcorn. You can see all the nice color on there. I hope you can. The lighting is kind of all crazy. This is the peanut butter chocolate. And I know I am going to have to pick out a great movie to watch tonight because we are going to be enjoying some popcorn. Classic Nooch. Nice and toasty and brown. This one stays so nice and crunchy. And this was the one I just took out, the Tex-Mex. So I hope you have some great ideas for some healthy snacks that you can make, especially if you're stuck at home. Get creative, let the kids help. Let me know what you make. I'd love to have some more recipes and try some new things out too. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos. And you can also check out my website, which is www.plantbasedbydenise. And I have a blog that I write there on how to get started on a whole food plant-based diet for those of you that are interested. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Hey guys, I just got to tell you that I had a little bit of popcorn left over after the video, so I decided to throw some Organicville barbecue sauce on it. That's the brand that I use right there, and it came out awesome. I don't know if you could see that. But it's sweet and it's crunchy because it's a nice sweet barbecue sauce, and it was so easy. I used the same method as I did with the hot sauce. So go ahead and give that a try too.